Hey, what's up guys? Andrew Gamer GL back here again, or Andrew Talks Football, my bad. I am here to talk about to discuss this video topic today about me reacting to the top 10 favorites predictions of the UCL this season made by the bookmakers. So I'm also probably going to make another video for another day where I give my full UCL league phase predictions as well, so be on the lookout for that. But this time we're talking about like top 10 favorites to win the competition and what the bookmakers think about that. So let's start off. In 10th place, they got Spurs with a 3.8% chance of winning the UCL. Now, it's alright. Personally, I wouldn't have Spurs in the top 10. I'd maybe have a team like a Dortmund or a Napoli in this position instead. But Spurs being in the top 10 isn't the worst shout either, because they have made good signings, they are under a good manager, and for the league phase they do have a relatively easy-ish schedule compared to the other teams that are here in this competition. So I think Spurs fans will be quite happy with that. And that one's alright. The next one, Inter Milan at 9th place, also with a 3.8% chance of winning the UCL. This I have an issue with, because I know Inter lost Inzaghi and they definitely won't be as strong as they were last season. And I understand Spurs won the Europa League last season, but this is two completely different competitions, and Inter has a lot of UCL experience. A lot of their players that have UCL experience. You're telling me they have a lower chance of winning the UCL, or not a lower. You're telling me they have an almost equal chance of winning the UCL as Spurs do. In my opinion, I think that's a little bit disrespectful to Inter Milan. The next thing I'll mention is Chelsea being 8th favorites with a 7.7% of the bookmakers' chance of winning the UCL. Now, this one I feel like is close to spot on. Chelsea, despite winning the Club World Cup, I do think that they have a decent chance of winning the UCL, hence why they got 7.7. But we also have to take into account that this is still a very young squad that has only had Conference League experience so far as European football goes. This is the gap between Conference League and Champions League is very big. So personally, I think 7.7 does seem quite fair for Chelsea. Next up in 7th favorites is us, Bayern München. The first time that I believe we're not placed in the top 5 favorites since the 2020 season, funnily enough, which maybe that could potentially be a foreshadowing of us winning the UCL. But anyway, we are ranked 7th favorites by the bookmakers, also only given a 7.7% chance of winning the UCL. To me, I think this is a little bit too low. I definitely would give us at least a 10% chance of winning the UCL, considering the amount of UCL experience our guys have and the players we've signed who are also quite good. But I will also say that I think perhaps the reason why they're not giving us higher than a 7.7 is because I think they, unfortunately, even though I don't think Company deserves it, I think there are still some question marks they have regarding him, which I think is completely unfair in that regard. But anyways, the next one here I have a big problem with. Manchester City being ranked 6th favorites with a 10% chance of winning the UCL. How the hell did you watch City from those 3 games that they have played so far this season and make the assumption that they have a 10% chance of winning the UCL? Not only is there no chemistry so far in the team, their defense is ass. Terrible, bro. Like, you're genuinely telling me that at the moment, Man City has higher odds of winning the UCL than Bayern and Chelsea? Personally, I'd have both Bayern and Chelsea ahead of Man City when it comes to odds of winning the UCL. So this one really does not make a lot of sense, in my opinion, from the bookmakers. Next up is Real Madrid being 5th favorites with an 11.1% chance of winning the UCL. This one's a little bit less controversial because you always have to have Real Madrid in the top 5 favorites, even if they didn't necessarily have the best season last season. They've looked good so far this season, made good signings. They've also, I've noticed, look a lot more like a team. They look a lot more organized. Personally, I think I would rank them a little bit higher than 5th favorites to win the UCL for this season, but it's not the wildest of takes. This is a team I have a problem with them being placed above them. Arsenal being ranked 4th favorites by the bookmakers with a 12.5% chance of winning the UCL. No offense, this might be considered a hot take to some people, but I genuinely think even no matter how much UCL experience you've had the past few years, if you are a team who has never won the UCL before, you do not deserve to have more than a 9% chance of winning the UCL. Sorry, but that is just personally my opinion. And Arsenal, yes, they're very good defensively, but they play absolutely terrorism football. Like, if you look at actually, I'm not necessarily the biggest stat person, but I found this particular stat to be extremely concerning if you are an Arsenal fan. When you look at the Premier League teams that have the most XG or most chances created from the leagues, you'll notice that in the Premier League, Sunderland have created the least open play XG, and then right after them, it's Arsenal with the second lowest created XG. From open play, by the way, not from these set piece corner kicks, fugaziness, stuff like that. So, based on that evidence, you can't be a team that only just relies on set pieces to win you the big games. you're not going to win the Champions League by only playing that way. So it makes no sense why Arsenal are ranked 4th favorites. I put them behind Real Madrid, I put them behind Bayern Munich, and low-key, I think you could even make a debate if they should be ahead of Chelsea. I think they'll be ahead of Chelsea, but I think they should be ranked behind Real Madrid and Bayern. But that's personally just my opinion over here, based on what I've seen so far from the teams. The next team we're talking about is PSG. They're ranked 3rd favorites by the bookmakers with a 13.3% chance of winning the UCL. Personally, I think PSG not being in the top 2 favorites is a disgrace. How is the team that has won the UCL only be 3rd favorites to win it again? Like, I know they're probably taking into account that it's difficult to win the UCL back-to-back 2 seasons in a row, but when you look at one of the teams that is placed above them, this really goes to show that the bookmakers really seem to value PR rather than actual performances. Because if you've actually looked at how all of these teams play, like, there's no way you can say Man City are 6th favorites to win the UCL. And there's no way you can say Bayern are only 7th favorites to win it, or Arsenal are 4th favorites to win it. There's quite a few placements here that don't make a lot of sense. The next one that doesn't make a lot of sense as well is Barcelona being ranked 2nd favorites and given the same odds of winning the UCL as Liverpool, who are being considered favorites by the bookmakers, both with a 14.3% chance of winning the UCL. Now Liverpool I can understand, because they are the reigning Premier League champions. They've broken a lot of transfer fee records, made absolutely great, ridiculous signings, being ambitious that I've never seen them be this ambitious before. So I can understand Liverpool being in the top 1 to top 2 favorites, even though their performances as of late may not suggest that. But I can understand Liverpool being there to a certain extent. Barcelona, on the other hand, I know they reached the Champions League semi-final last season and only barely just got knocked out by Inter Milan, who made the final. But when you look at what Barcelona have actually done in the transfer window, they've really not done a lot to fix one of the main issues I think they had last season, which was their lack of depth, which ultimately I think was actually the reason why they got knocked out by Inter in the Champions League. Don't get me wrong, I think Barcelona do deserve to be in the top 5 favorites, but I think to be joint favorites with Liverpool, I think is going a little bit too far, being ambitious with Barcelona. Like, the only signings Barcelona have made is signing Joan Garcia, which, fair enough, he's a very good goalkeeper and a huge upgrade on Ter Stegen. That's definitely good. But they also signed Marcus Rashford on loan, and I'm sorry, from what I've seen from him so far, no amount of Hansi Flick beautiful football seems like is going to fix him. He still looks terrible even under the Hansi Flick system. The reason why I say that is because usually under Hansi Flick, even players who are not doing well or perform well look good to a certain extent. I have not seen that with Marcus Rashford so far in any way, shape or form. And on top of that, Barcelona have lost one of their best performing centre backs from last season, Inigo Martinez, and they didn't even get a replacement for him. So based on that evidence, Barcelona have actually had a rather underwhelming transfer window, and yet they're being put together as joint favourites alongside Liverpool. Ridiculous. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the bookmakers' predictions on who are the favourites to win the UCL. What are you guys' thoughts on this? If you think it's fair or if you think it's not fair, let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button down below. And if you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care. Peace out.